welcome back. Hey gang, welcome back. Welcome back to the Ashland Fly Shop regionally famous fly fishing report for February 18th, 2021. Thank you so much for joining us. We love having you here with us. Let's talk about fishing. Let's do it. Okay, so we're getting a lot of rain. Today is quite a bit, and already had a fair amount. So going into this, so we're seeing the flows really pump. So getting into the first part of next week, it could be worth going out and giving it a try here and there, but not really high on the list. I still think the Rogue is just a little ways off from maybe a week, 2 weeks from where we really start to kind of hammer down and really get after it, looking for winter steelhead up in the upper section of the river, which is like the Medford area, up to the dam, kind of where we fish quite a bit. Still think the lower section, Grants Pass area, is a pretty good bet down there, but it's going to be pretty unfishable, I think, for several days. So our buddy Brandon Matthews, Rogue Fish Co., he's gotten into a couple really nice looking winter fish. So there are definitely fish marching through. I do think that fishing indicators, big egg patterns in the higher flows, and kind of really running that way is going to be the way to go while the flows are up and a bit off color, and that's a good bet for looking for a winter fish. Certainly, once we get to a little more stable place, even if the river's off color a bit, swinging flies in the upper river, middle river is going to be is always a good thing to do, looking around for that fish. You're talking about your darker patterns, your little bit more flashy patterns, stuff like that, is tinsel flies, things like that, is not a bad way to go, but you're going to need to get their attention. Sometimes it's a little counterintuitive, but dark flies in darker water is kind of what you want to do. That profile really stands out. So we'll keep you up to date. We'll let you know, but we're still a little ways off, so not great fishing news there on the Rogue, but we're getting closer. Applegate River is going to come online here pretty quick. Really nice to see the amount of weather. Really nice to see the Applegate sort of bopping up and down like that. It's really good to see that river come up and down. That gets those fish up and spread out through that system. So the Applegate is going to be a pretty good bet. I'm sure there's been a few fish that have come out of there. Usually we see people getting serious about it. Really into March. So we're getting close. Sean, who works here with us, he's from down in that area, and he fishes the Applegate a bit, and he's just starting to think about getting in there with his pontoon boat and looking around for fish. So it's a good time to start poking around, and it's just going to kind of get better as we get closer, but good signs as far as the flows of the river, and it's definitely we're seeing enough water to get fish spread out in there, which is good. I was actually down in the Kalamath this last week, and Kalamath is hanging in there for sure. Decent water clarity, still holding around 1,000 CFS. Now that's from the dam down to Kalamath Bridge, so floated that section. And I thought it looked really good. We kind of did a little more filming than fishing, but we did see a couple other boats out there hooking up. I do think that you've really got a good shot at getting a fish in there if you were really kind of persistent swinging flies in there. I do think it's like going to be kind of a winter setup, and we've been talking about this for several weeks, where it's not that typical Kalamath where you're getting more grabs and that kind of thing, but it's real steelhead fishing. You're really looking for a fish. And you could get a nice high quality fish down there. So I would be looking, just kind of as far down as you can with the amount of water coming in before it's, really gets off color. How far down is that going to be? Probably not a long ways. Maybe down to the Shasta River. But I would be concentrating in that upper stretch right now anyway, around I-5. That's where we really like to be this time of year. And we do see a fair amount of fish come out of there. Nymphing's always a really good bet. I think if you were down there nymphing in that section right now, you could rope them pretty good. So We did see a couple boats hooked up on nymphs in that stretch. So that's the dam down to Kalamath. It looks pretty quiet in there too. We didn't see too much traffic. So I think that's still a good bet, maybe one of the best bets in the region, although it's doesn't have a kind of high draw right now with other things going on. But as far as upper river fishing, it's a good bet. Okay, let's talk about the coast. So we always get so excited at the beginning of this season, and then it's just such an ass kicker, right? It's such a grinder. So you just got to spend a lot of time there on the coast, Southern Oregon coast, Northern California coast. You got to spend your time and watch the weather, watch the flows, and just be there when those fish are coming through. Like I've mentioned, I have seen some really nice quality specimens, some bigger fish. But you know, the feedback we're getting from across the board is that, yeah, it's just not a lot of fish to be had. So some really good venues down there. You know, the one that we talk about a little bit is the just because there's a fair amount of room to spread out on there. I've seen a couple decent fish come out of there, but going to be a bit of a challenge. And you just really got to watch those flows and just be there when that, you know, water quality, water height, clarity is kind of all in line, and that's a pretty short little window. Sometimes it can be like a half a day, but you can you know, the way it kind of goes up and down, you can kind of sneak it out. So yeah, good place to go. Happy to talk to you a little bit about it if you want to give us a call here, but it's all you out there. Trout fishermen, I do really think the Upper Sac is the place to be still for walk and wade. If you're looking for a little bit of a break from steelhead fishing and you want to go for a walk and just kind of do something like that, the Upper Sacramento, I think is a good bet. It's getting a lot of rain today, but I think that it'll, you know, if you're fishing in that, you know, that sort of Dunsmuir down for several miles, I think you're going to be able to find water you're looking for there. I've seen some very nice fish come out of there. Winter is always a good time to fish. I've mentioned before, fish are in different places than they typically are. In the summer, we find them more in the kind of like the bigger runs and deeper kind of guts and runs and glides and stuff like that than in, than in the shallower water we can see them in sometimes in the summer. So focus your efforts there. It can be a little bit more of a driving experience, you know, maybe driving between some of the frontage road pullouts and hopping down and fishing a little bit and then driving to another spot, unless you have a place you really love to walk into that you know has been good to you at this time of year in the past. But you know, a lot of same stuff. We do like big dark rubber legs down there, just even the standard kind of silly leg stoneflies and you know, and then smaller nymphs, 14s. You don't have to go crazy small this time of year. 14s, 16s, just your standard, you know, your standard micro mayflies, things like that should turn fish. So it's always fun. It's always a good time to be down there. So that's a good bet for trout fishing. North Umpqua, let's talk a little bit about the
Crazy, can't take it, Chris.
Okay, that's a wrap for fishing. Mid-February, you know. Good luck out there, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. Give us a call. We're happy to help you with up-to-the-minute reports we're getting back. Really appreciate you watching. Hit that subscribe button if you like what you see here. Do lots of other things here on this channel. So thanks so much for tuning in. We will see you next time on the regionally famous Ashland Fly Shop Fishing Report. Signing.